Hi Manu, good morning for you and good evening for me. So
Yeah.
let's start the interview with your introduction and then we will go with the questions and the answer.
Okay. Hi, Manish. Thank you for inviting me for the interview. And my name is Manu Kumar, and I'm a cloud and DevOps engineer with 3 years of experience working in AWS and Azure cloud and in DevOps expertise. And I started my career in LTIMindtree as a cloud infrastructure engineer with Azure cloud, and then transitioned into DevOps role and working with Jenkins, CI/CD, and then AWS cloud, and then provision into like container with the Docker and Kubernetes. And also, I've recently completed my master's in cloud computing in National College of Ireland. And along with that, I own certifications from Azure, like ASN 900, and from AWS as a Solution Architect Associate. And I'm currently preparing for CK certifications. And this is a short introduction about myself.
Okay, thank you. So if I talk about how do you start your day?
Like in my previous company,
Yeah,
so yeah, I would like start my day by checking the mails and the Slack notifications that we get, and then work upon the like Jira ticket that is assigned to our name, and check with the progress of the previous assigned tickets, and working on like any of the business impact issues or the incidents that happened. So working upon that, and making sure that like everything is in the process, and also providing the relevant RCAs and working upon the task assigned on that particular day.
okay. So you have worked with this CI/CD as part of the tool you what you have used is Jenkins, correct?
Jenkins, yeah,
So if we talk about CI/CD part, correct? We often talk about this
yeah.
CI/CD tool. What do you understand by continuous delivery and continuous deployment?
Like once the application is built and continuous deployment is done on any of the servers, the application is hosted on any of the servers, the continuous deployment is done, but the continuous delivery is providing the continuous feedback to the applications
Mm-hmm.
deployment part, like installing a new application versions and providing like back to back feedback on that particular version is the continuous delivery within a part of continuous deployment. So yeah.
Okay. How will you manage the sensitive information like you have this token or the different credentials within the Jenkins? So how will you handle these kind of things?
Storing the Jenkins credentials, like available plugins in the Jenkins credentials,
Okay.
basically for all the sensitive information.
And how will you will call you during the pipeline? Like if you are creating the Jenkins
Uh,
pipeline and you have to call those credentials.
yeah, you use the environmental variables in the Jenkins pipeline to call that credentials.
Okay. What kind of
Yeah,
different stages you have used during the Jenkins pipeline?
I've used like multi-stage pipeline
Mhm.
and like scripted pipeline basically. I've used. Yeah, different
Okay.
stages you're asking.
Different stages of pipeline, yes.
Uh, yeah, those stages of pipeline is the first stage is git clone from the a repository, and then the test and then it's like this test stage where testing of the source code is done, and then static code analysis, and then building the artifact, and then deploying it to the docker image, and then deploying it to the Kubernetes through Helm chart.
Okay.
Yeah,
So if I talk about the complete CI/CD process, so can you
yeah,
explain like the developer are writing their code on the local system till the production
yeah.
deployment, how which kind of a strategy you are following, or like what's the process for you?
So developer writes the code and pushes it to the GitHub. So from the developer point of view, they have they are writing the code and they're pushing it to the GitHub. And in the meantime, the test engineers write the test cases like manual and automation testers, and then they perform the tests. And in the CI/CD part, what happens is that like when we clone the GitHub repository, the source code is cloned, and then after that, the I would say like the source code is cloned and the testing is done for that repository, like for that source code, and then built with the static code analysis, the static analysis for code, like for any vulnerabilities, code smells, and code coverage is done. The testing is done with that, and if the test is passed in the pipeline, like minimum, we set up. Limit for the code coverage and like that code vulnerabilities. If the test is passed, it moves to the next stage, that is the build stage, and the code is built in the the code is built with the in artifact, and then that code is utilized, like the artifact is utilized to deploy it to the creating the container, like a docker container using the
Hmm.
docker file that we have created, and then using that docker file, we pull that into the elm repository, like to deploy it in the EKS cluster.
Okay. What kind of branching strategy do you follow?
Like a branching strategy in Git, it's like
Yes.
feature branch and like the main branch, and dev branch.
Okay. And do you use tag, or like how do you maintain this version for your code?
Using like for versions, we use a tag basis
Okay, so
for different versions of code.
just suppose that I have deployed the code of 10.0 version, correct? And then we
Yeah.
encountered there is a bug in that code.
Hmm.
And to fix that code, obviously we are going to write some code, like some code enhancement, correct? And then we have to release this.
Yeah.
So what kind of a strategy do you follow to do this like hotfix deployment?
So we to do an hotfix deployment, we open a new branch called hotfix branch,
Mm-hmm.
and then so if the particular like stage of that particular branch is like in the failure, if that the application is deployed in using that stage, we roll back into the previous stable versions from the deployment perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And in the branching strategy, we use the hotfix branch to like fix the code and then merge that code to the stable versions, and then we work upon like improving that particular deployment.
Okay, so this hotfix, the newer code will be merged to the hotfix branch or the main branch or the master branch? Which
Like
branch?
the newer code will be merged to the like the main branch, and then the problem, like the issue code will be removed, like the by fixing the like using the hotfix.
Okay, so when you say the newer code will be merged to the main branch, just suppose there were 100 lines of code at the main branch before,
Mm-hmm,
and in
mm-hmm.
these 100 lines of code you encountered an issue. Now you are writing
Okay.
20 more lines, so it has become 120 more lines, and this code is also merged to the main branch only. Now,
Okay.
how will you differentiate that there was 100 lines of code till this main branch, or there were 120 lines till this main branch?
So use the Git history or Git merge, see the previous versions basically, and what are all the changes that is done in the Git history basically.
Okay, so do you follow tag strategy, like creating tag out of the branches?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay, no issue. What all AWS services have you used?
In AWS, I've used EC2, S3, and storage and
Okay,
Kubernetes, ECR, and like SNS topic
so
basically.
suppose I have five customers and I'm
Yeah.
handling five customers, correct? I have created the infrastructure, I have done the deployment, everything. And
Mm-hmm.
after some time, after 1 year, one of my customer is going away. The customer,
Okay.
whatever the agreement was, the agreement has ended up, correct? So
Okay.
to store the data, like images for the different customers, I was storing all their data into different AWS S3 bucket. Like I had this five
Mm-hmm.
customer, five AWS
Mm-hmm.
account for all these customers one by one, correct?
Okay.
There are five buckets in which I was storing the images specific to the customer. Now,
Okay.
after 1 year, one of the agreement has ended up and customer is going away. So we have created sixth AWS account as well, where we are storing the shared data, like the customer data for which customer has already gone away, correct? So that kind
Okay.
of data we are storing in this sixth AWS account within one AWS S3 bucket. Now this
Okay.
customer fifth is going away. I have to send the data from the customer account to this shared AWS account. How will we do?
Okay. You need to send the data from one S3 bucket to another S3 bucket in the different subscription, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So using the cross region replication strategy, we can like copy from one S3 bucket to another S3 bucket in the different account and create a policy to copy from that account.
Okay.
So you can use that, and also use S3 bucket lifecycle policy to archive the data for a very long time. And yeah, you can follow the cross origin like a replication strategy
Okay,
QoRS
how will
policy.
you make your application highly available and scalable in terms of AWS cloud?
So you're hosting your application in AWS cloud, and it needs to be highly available and scalable. So
Yes.
you need to use a load balancer to distribute the traffic,
Mm-hmm.
and use the multiple availability zones to deploy the servers in the multiple availability zones, and use the auto scaling policies, auto scalers, basically to distribute the traffic and increase the count of increase or decrease the count of number of servers based upon the traffic by setting the custom metrics like CPU, memory, and distribute the traffic equally with all the servers, and making sure that traffic is distributed equally among all the servers, and deployment of the servers in in different regions. So
Okay, so when you are going to create this auto scaling group, that's what you mentioned, correct? What kind of
yeah.
different policies we can create in this auto scaling group, and what are the different parameters based on which you will create this auto scaling group?
So to create to distribute the traffic equally among all the target groups in the servers.
Mhm.
So basically use the cooling period cooling period in the AWS EC2 server sorry, in the EC2 servers. Make sure that the certain threshold is reached, and then the scaling in or scaling out of the servers are done. And what the strategies, you can use the different metrics like CPU, memory, or network IO, and custom metrics, and
Okay, what kind of different dynamic policies are available in auto scaling?
step scaling. You're talking about that,
Yes.
uh, I'm not able to recall all the scaling policies, but there are a
Okay, no
couple of
issue.
scaling
Yeah,
policies.
no issue. So just thinking of that I was talking about this step scaling and target tracking policy. These are the policies and simple scaling, correct?
Okay.
Three
Yeah.
kind of policies are there. Now, just think in a way that you have a scheduled action created, which
Okay.
says that on every day, Monday to Friday, Monday
Mm-hmm.
morning, I will scale up the number of servers up to 5. That's the scheduled action, correct? And
Okay.
at 6 p.m. every day, Monday to Friday, it will scale down the number of servers up to 6. Sorry, up to 2. Correct?
Okay.
That's the concern. Now, what happened at one day that CPU utilization goes up to 70%, more than 70%, correct?
Okay.
It has breached the threshold. So your target tracking plus policy is working there, and it has increased the number of servers up to 10, correct?
Mm-hmm.
6 p.m. like it's 5:30 p.m. you can think of, correct? And you still your CPU utilization is more than 70%. So according to
Mm-hmm.
target tracking policy, six number of servers is running. Sorry, 10 number of servers,
Okay.
10 numbers of servers are still running. Now
Okay.
at 6 p.m. what will happen?
So at 6 p.m. currently number 10 number of servers are running according to the target policies, and after 6 it needs to as per the policy, as per the automated policy that we have created, it needs to scale down to 2 servers.
Correct.
But since the load is continuous, it checks for the continuous health probes to check the number of load
Hmm.
that is getting to the servers, traffic,
Hmm.
and then it checks the traffic, and then based upon that continuous health probe checking, it scales down or scales in, basically. So based upon the traffic, it increases or decreases along with the code, that's along with the services.
Okay, so what will happen at 6? It will be like 10 servers only, or it will come to
So
4 servers?
if the traffic is continuously in the stable increasing state, it will be in the number of 10 servers only, or if the traffic is reduces to a certain limit, then it scales down.
Okay. Uh, I have an application hosted on the
Mm-hmm.
EKS cluster, correct? And
Okay.
that application has this DNS you can think of manish-devops.com. You are hitting this
Okay.
particular DNS in your browser, correct? And this
Yeah.
request has to go up to the pod where your container is running. How this
Mm-hmm.
request will flow? The higher picture of like high level overview of request flow.
Okay. So you're hosting your application in manish-devops.com, and then it needs to follow the traffic towards the pod in the Kubernetes clusters, right?
Correct.
Yeah, first when you hit the traffic for like manish-devops.com, it will reach the DNS basically. So it resolves the DNS to the load balancer, and the load balancer like inbounds the traffic, like process the traffic inside the ingress controller,
How it
and the
will
ingress
how it will go to the load balancer? Sorry. When I hit this
uh,
DNS manishdevops.com, how this DNS will know that I have to go to this particular load balancer?
like DNS resolution happens basically. So
So
like DNS resolution
so where will you
uh,
do this DNS resolution?
in the route 53 basically.
Okay.
So
And what kind of
DNS resolution.
which kind of record you will create?
So CNAME is the record for this, like the load balancer address
Okay.
to the domain name address that you have given. So it resolves the resolves the address, like domain address to the like ALB load balancer address, and then the load balancer redirects the traffic to the ingress controller based upon the path based routing. If you have given to any of the like particular pod or services, it routes the traffic to that particular path, and inside the like ingress object, it routes the traffic to a particular pod basically from the service that you have deployed.
Okay. So when your traffic is being routed through the load balancer, there will be multiple target groups as well, correct?
Yeah.
Just suppose that any of the target group has become unhealthy. There is a scenario
Okay.
where you are going to
Mhm.
like where you are checking on the AWS console and it's saying that one of the target group is unhealthy. How will
Mhm.
you troubleshoot this target group which is unhealthy?
So basically, when like when a traffic is distributed through LB load balancer, it continuously checks the health probe of that. Like basically, slash health is the slash health or any of the target like health probe that you have given the URL. So
Mhm.
it continuously checks in a continuous interval, like 5 minutes or like every 2 minutes. And based upon that, if the target is healthy, then only distribute the traffic to that target group. If it's not, it's like it sets aside that target group and distributes to another target groups. So it checks the target group health condition and then only distribute the traffic. If health is like if it's not healthy, basically what would I check is that the condition of what is the state of the target group. The if it's like healthy or what is the like reason for like it's fall behind, and then understand what are the like performance issue, or check the system logs or any of the like application like errors that we get inside the server. So
Mhm.
considering as a Linux server, var.log.syslog, or if it's like if the what is the reason behind the like unhealthy basically performance issue or like high utilization, if there is a like continuous like disk throttling happening inside the servers, checking all the possibilities inside the server.
Okay. If you have to explain me the VPC, what is VPC? And I'm not a technical person. How will you explain this?
So explaining VPC to a non-technical person, it's like a compounded boundary of a private property. So you can access only through one particular gate, and you need to have an access ID to enter and like in to come and go. So this is the best example I can give inside a private property,
Okay.
and yeah, like you need to enter through a single gate and exit through that gate only.
Okay. Have you used any backend service for your Lambda function?
Like SNS, we have used SNS functions to automate like if there is any interaction, like any of the data pooling happens inside the S3 bucket. So used SNS, and yeah, apart from that, no.
Okay. Fine. So I have a container which is running out of one image, correct? There might be
Okay.
any image, and I want to
Mm-hmm.
delete this image while my container is running. Will I be
Mm-hmm.
able to do, or if I do, whether my container will be running or not?
So you have a container in the Docker hub or on the present, like in the local
Uh,
repository that
it's
you're
it's
running.
running on my local system. Like I have like
Okay.
run this Docker pull or the Docker run command.
Okay.
That's just running one of
Okay.
the container, and
Mm-hmm.
image is stored locally. And then you are
Mm-hmm.
trying to delete this image from your system. and your
Mm-hmm.
container were running, correct? So once you delete the image, the first question is whether we can delete the image or not. And if we can delete, will my container be running or not?
So at first you cannot delete the image since the container is already running, and if you want to delete, you can force delete the container image, and then after deleting the image, you'll not be able to like bring back the container back because there is no existence of image later. You can delete through force delete.
Okay, hyphen F, correct? This
Yeah,
is what you
hyphen F.
mentioned.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what are different kinds of networking available in Docker?
So bridge network there is none, and overlay McWLAN, and yeah.
Okay, why do we call this container lightweight?
So basically, containerization is a type of virtualization. It's also called the OS virtualization. It's called lightweight because it uses the OS of like it creates the guest OS on top of the host OS, unlike the normal virtualization that happens to create another host OS, like another guest OS on top of the host OS. So it uses less like CPU and memory, and also it is lightweight because it uses like a layered architecture, and that is the like feature of containers.
Okay, if I have to deploy one of the application, like I have developed a certain code and I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
launch this website, in which
Mm-hmm.
scenario I should choose a EC2 machine or the virtual machine, you can say, or I should deploy it over the Kubernetes cluster.
So it depends on the architecture of the application that you have created. So if the application code needs like tightly coupled between the each functions,
Hmm.
then it is a monolithic application and you need to deploy it in the EC2 services. And if application code can interact between two like different API services,
Hmm.
so it can be microserviced and deployed it as a container in a Docker, and then deployed as a like pod inside the Kubernetes, and then you can orchestrate using Kubernetes orchestrator.
So what is the like? Why should we use the Kubernetes? That's the question.
So Kubernetes is basically a container orchestrator.
Hmm.
So if there are multiple, so in order to manage the deployments of multiple containers, you use Kubernetes and maintain the life cycle of every container and understand the different interaction between like containers. So you use and monitor through Kubernetes is a like it's like I can say it's like a monitoring agent,
Okay.
or it's a orchestrator.
Okay. So if I have this two namespace, correct? Namespace
Yeah.
staging and namespace production, and I
Okay.
have to make sure that none of the pod of one namespace should communicate with the different namespace pods. How will
Mm-hmm.
you ensure this kind of feature?
So basically, write the network like policies in the Kubernetes to like basically you can communicate. All the pods can communicate in the same namespace by default, and if you want to block any other access, you can write the like namespaces to like block all the egress or like ingress communication inside the network policies.
Okay, that's good. So, just suppose that I have to store some certificate related data.
Okay.
So, I should use this Kubernetes secret or the config map or the AWS secret manager. Which service I should prefer?
If you want to store the secret data or like certificate data.
It's certificate data, TLS private key and all the things. It's the
Okay,
sensitive info. Yeah.
yeah, you can use the AWS Secrets Manager to store the data and regularly rotate the like keys of that like secrets managers to authenticate and like use the regular rotation practice.
And how will you
But
rotate? How will you rotate?
it's basically like with the help of I would say different policies are there to you can like use the different lifecycle policies of log certificate like storage rotations inside the secrets manager, and like config map you can only store non-sensitive data inside the Kubernetes,
Okay.
and in
Okay.
Kubernetes.
One
Sorry.
thing, if I'm storing database passwords in my AWS secret manager and I have to
Mm.
rotate this database password, how can we rotate?
Okay. uh,
Any kind of approach what you can think of to rotate your database password, which is stored in the secret manager?
Yeah, like what I remember is that like there is a policy that like the you will get an alert before like five, like there is you can store the data for 180 days, and
Mhm.
then you will get an alert before 5 to 10 days. You can alert telling that the password expires or the certificate expires within this date.
Yeah.
So this is the
There should be some mechanism, correct? Whenever you are receiving any alert, that is also a part of mechanism what you have already configured, correct? Then only
yeah,
you are getting the notification.
yeah.
And to rotate that details as well, you will have to set up some mechanism. So are you aware about that mechanism? What kind of mechanism we do we set
And
up?
I'm not able to recall at the moment.
Okay, no issue. I have this Kubernetes cluster on which my nodes are running, correct? And
Yeah.
I have to ensure that like there are two kind of nodes. The one nodes are of T2.micro. There are other nodes which are of C5.xlarge.
Okay.
I have to ensure that certain pods will get assigned to this C5.xlarge because these pods are for the login page, and my login page
Okay.
should be always available.
Okay.
Whether my notification is working or not, my login page and profile page should always be available. Home page, including home page, right?
Yeah.
So I want that all these pods which are coming out of login and the home page and the profile page should get scheduled over this C5.x large nodes only. So how will you
Mm-hmm.
make sure this kind of setup?
So two worker nodes, and these two worker nodes only a particular like a small like I would say small sized worker node needs to deploy all the login and the other files that requires only a particular set of pods needs to like deployed in that server. So
Okay.
use node affinity and inside the permissions like required during scheduling and required during execution that function, and then deploy that particular pod using that YAML execution.
Okay. So if I have to maintain any kind of this failover policy in this Route 53, are you aware about this
Mhm.
failover policy in Route
Yeah,
53?
DNS failover. You can use the DNS failover policies to route to if the like if the main server is failed, then you can use the DNS failover policies to route it to the backups at DNS server.
Okay. How do we use this for each block in Terraform?
If you want to deploy like for each block,
Yeah.
if you want to deploy multiple instance in the same time, and that needs the same configuration like 5 instance in the same like EU West region of the same type, you can use for each for that number of counts like 4. You can deploy that particular number of servers in the for each Terraform block.
Okay. Okay.
And
If
one more, you can use count block also, like it's one of the like similar function that uses.
yes, correct. So if I have to store the state file for the three different environments, what kind of
Okay.
mechanism will you set up?
like store the state file for three different mechanism. First of all,
Three
store.
different, like just suppose that you have a customer called A, and for this customer
Okay.
A, you are creating three kind of environment. One called as a pre-prod, second one is called as a staging, third one is called as a production one.
Okay.
So how will you create three like three different kind of infrastructure, and you are going to manage the state file for these three different environments as well? Because
So
if you keep the same state file, it will get overwritten, correct?
yeah. So there is a function called like workspace in Terraform to distribute like between two, three different namespaces.
Mm-hmm.
You can use the Terraform workspace, or if you want to deploy for like in without workspace, you can use in different directories to distribute like make sure that you are like distinguishing between different environments.
It's okay. That's great.
Yeah.
So, any kind of challenge you have faced or any kind of learning you have achieved out of this like experience, the DevOps while working as a DevOps engineer?
Yeah, recently I am currently learning about building in the like GitOps principles like using ArgoCD, and I've currently done a project on Netflix cloning project using TMDB database API. So one of the reason to learn is that I was able to understand about the ArgoCD project and how a continuous delivery is done through ArgoCD, whenever you push a new image, like whenever a source code is changed, it continuously like triggers the Elm repository by like updating that image version, and then that Elm repository is updated through ArgoCD, and it pushes the image version, and then that new version of the image like is taken in the like Kubernetes deployment and updated automatically. So it's like a continuous deployment, like delivery service. So I learned about ArgoCD and building in multi-stage build in Docker file, and monitoring through Prometheus and Grafana, and yeah, I've learned
Okay.
about this.
Okay. If you have to troubleshoot any slow performing Linux server, how will you
Okay.
troubleshoot?
So slow performing Linux server, basically first check the top command, understand the load average that is there. So if the load average is more than the number of like CPU cores, then the particularly that particular application is having high CPU utilization or like high load utilization, and
Mhm.
understand what are the process that is consuming CPU using AUX hyphen sort CPU percentage CPU, and like sort it to like number of process consuming CPU CPU high CPU utilization. And then if there is a like if there is no disk space, you can use df hyphen h and
Okay, yeah,
understand.
got it. So when you do SSH for your server, correct? While you are trying to
Okay.
SSH, what happens exactly?
So SSH, basically it's a secure shell connection using IPsec protocol. So you are correct connecting the remote server with the help of like a private key from your end. So you basically exchange the you exchange the like private key, and then able to remotely connect using SSH protocol, and you'll be able to authenticate only through like that particular key. Without that, you'll not be able to authenticate with the like .pem key.
Okay. Thank you so much, Manu, for your interview. It was really nice talking with you.
Yeah, thank you, Manish.